I hadn't known how long I was asleep for. I figured maybe it was a few hours or a day at the most. There wasn't really any way for me to tell, though. All I knew was that when I woke up, I didn't feel as bad as I had before. My throat still felt a little sore, but I didn't feel as sick as I had felt when I ran into the rain. I went and tried to sit up. When I did, I found out that my head was a little fuzzy. I didn't feel dizzy, though. Well, not all that much. So I pulled the covers off me and started swinging my legs over so I could get out of the bed. Before I could finish, though, I felt a hand on my arm and looked up. Gustav was right there, beside the bed, stopping me from getting up. I went and laid back down, doubting I'd be able to get up at that point, and also not wanting to run into any issues, like making myself feel really dizzy. When I was putting my legs back on the bed and under the covers, I noticed that my ankle was bandaged. I was so glad right then that I hadn't actually got out of bed fully. I noticed the look on Gustav's face, one of concern and also hoping that I was okay now, as he asked,
"How are you feeling?"
I was silent for a short time as I thought of what to say before I said, "My head feels a little fuzzy, but I don't feel dizzy. Well, not much. My throat feels a little sore still, but it's not too bad." I paused, then said, "How long have I been asleep?" Gustav put a hand on my forehead and brushed some of the hair from my face as he said,
"You have been asleep for 3 days."
3 days? I asked, totally shocked. I didn't know I was asleep for that long. I remember running out of the house and being brought back, but there was other stuff that was a little blurry. Being asleep for as long as I had been kind of made sense, though, especially if I hadn't been feeling well. It was still a bit of a surprise, though,
"Yes,
Gustav said.
you were asleep for that long, and I sat right beside your bed the whole time, just as you had asked me to."
I was silent for a little while, not sure what to say to that. I hadn't remembered asking him to stay here with me. He'd remembered it, though, so I must have said it. But did I say it because I wanted him to stay there? Or because I wasn't thinking right, or something? What else did I say, if anything? I wasn't even sure if I wanted to know. Despite all that, I smiled a little and said, "Thank you." Despite everything that had happened, I was glad someone was there with me. Gustav seemed a little unsure of what to say, or maybe if it was something else. Whatever it was, he was silent for a little while before he said,
"There is no need to thank me for doing something I did out of love. As I said, I would never leave you."
I felt oddly comforted by that. Before, I was more scared than anything, but that seemed to be going away. I wasn't sure why. There were things I definitely felt that I needed to find out. I figured maybe Gustav could help me with that. He did think I had memory loss. I was starting to think that maybe I did have some kind of memory loss or something, especially with the dreams I had when I'd been asleep for the past 3 days. It could have been something else too, but I wasn't really sure what. Without even realizing it, I said softly, "You say that you would never leave me. However, you have more than once. I was so very upset when you had to leave me." He looked really surprised when he looked at me, and he didn't say anything for a long time. He then said with an unsure tone,
"Alina?"
When I heard that, I said, "Who else would?" I stopped talking, realizing what I said. I gasped and said, "I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even really know what's going on. I'm so confused." I could feel some tears fall from my eyes. I looked away from him and could hear him sigh. He didn't say anything, though. I was silent for a while, not really sure what to say, if anything. I remembered something from before, about how I'd asked him why he thought I was Alina, and he hadn't answered me. I looked at him and softly said, "Do you have any pictures of me? Of Alina?" I said. Maybe if I saw some pictures. I trailed off after that, not really sure what else to say. Not too long after I said that, he went and called for Cerise and Henry. When they showed up, Gustave told them to find as many pictures as they could and bring them there, to the room. After that, Cerise and Henry left the room and Gustave and I waited in silence. After a little while, they were back with the pictures. There were a good amount of them. I was handed a bunch of pictures that Henry told me were from when I first met Gustave. When I looked at the first picture, I gasped. I looked through more of the pictures I'd been handed and felt confused again. The woman in the pictures was wearing a Victorian-looking gown, sometimes green, sometimes purple, other times blue, or some other color, and the shoes that were definitely from that era. She had the same dark brown hair and green eyes I did. Her hair was done up fancy, though, and had some combs in it. She also looked the same exact age as me, 18. I was speechless for a long time before I said, "This is impossible. How could she look like me? Well, me look like her?" I'm starting to really think, though, that maybe I am Alina. There's all these dreams I've had, and I feel like I've been in this place before. I paused, then said, "I just don't understand how, though. It's way past the Victorian era. There's no way this could be a picture of me, yet.